What is up, guys? It's been a bit since I did a movie versus movie, but we are here. There's been some time that's passed that I can finally do this video, which is Man of Steel versus Superman. Since Superman's hitting 4K Blu-ray this week, I figure it's the best time to talk about this film. Stay tuned. There will be a 4K Blu-ray digital code video coming out probably maybe Wednesday, I'm assuming, but let's talk about this. So guys, the way that I'm going to basically choose a winner out of these two films is by 6 points, right? The 6 points is going to be story, score, character, visual effects and action, performances and chemistry, and the message of the film, aka also the tone. 6 points. The winner obviously is majority. Whoever wins more of the points obviously would be the winner. So let's kick it off with the story. So we have two different style stories here. Let's talk about the Man of Steel story. It is a full-on origins tale that's an Elseworld story that we learn about this more grounded Superman in reality, that he is not respected by the earth or anything like that. He's more of an outcast, and he is trying to find his way in a society that is more grounded and realistic, right? Comparing it to Superman 2025, we jump right into the world that metahumans exist. We are in a fantastical style world where more or less Superman is respected and he is acknowledged in this world. He's existed for I think over 3 years already, and he's basically being a superhero. So with this being said, obviously 2013, we know what Snyder was doing with Man of Steel, definitely an Elseworld style take. But what I will say is, as story beats go throughout both films, I will say that the winner of the story for me is actually Superman. Now, the reason why I think that Superman has a stronger story and narrative than Man of Steel is because what Man of Steel is a full-on origin style film, right? We all already know that. And as really good writing, the story behind Krypton and Superman and Zod, the problem that I feel like it faces is what I will be repeating myself with, is the stylistic of monotone, dark tones throughout the film. If you want to say which film is better, the biggest thing for me with story-wise is the character of Superman is a lighthearted character. No matter what you dive back into, any comics and things like that, Earth 1, the prime Superman, is a lighthearted Superman. One of the things that I will respect about Man of Steel, no matter what, and I will get this out there, guys, both films I love so much. I really do love both Man of Steel and Superman. I really do. But what I will say that I really respected about Man of Steel is its style of Kryptonian tech. The story between Superman and Jor-El or Jonathan. The thing that really stands out about Man of Steel 2 with its story beats is it's more of a father tale, like father and son bonding film, comparing it to Superman. More or less, Superman's got that more of fantastic, fun-hearted, emotional-hearted film style to it, where it's got a straight story that you are dived right into the action, which I think works better when you're telling an overarching narrative throughout the DC universe. While with Man of Steel, even though it's its origin film, it's Elseworlds, and I think that's where it suffers for getting the audience on board with Superman and realizing, oh, this is kind of more or less like a dark, really dark Superman. Like, it's not like he doesn't bring hope and optimism. Even though it's him beginning, you don't feel that a lot throughout the film. He saves a couple people, things like that, but lots of destruction, lots of death and things like that in Man of Steel. But there, with that being said, there are like so many beautiful sequences in films, or sequences and scenes in Man of Steel, that are like, wow, it's truly awe-inspiring. But that leads me into the next one. So the first point for story goes to Superman 2025. Next up is the score. Guys, I will say right now, I really, really love the score of Superman 2025. It's got that remix vibe of the old Christopher Reeve, John Williams score, which I love. But it feels more of an epic take. And I listen to it all the time while I'm in the gym now. But with that being said, Man of Steel, guys, the score is just, to me, comparable in that sense. Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL, what they did with the score, personally, one of my favorite scores of all time is the track "What Are You Doing When You're Not Saving the World." It is a beautiful score. Man of Steel gets that point for score. With that being said, the flight score, things like that, it's a beautiful They did a great job with that score. It gives me goosebumps to this day. But with that being said, the Superman 2025 score, I love that score too. I think it is a perfect homage to the original score, but modernizing it, particularly Last Sun and Look Up. I think the two tracks on the Superman album, those ones are bangers, so to speak. But guys, next up is character. So the character of Superman. Obviously, you guys already know where I'm going to lean with this one, and the point goes to Superman 2025. I love the character of Superman in Man of Steel, and I respect that he's an outcast. I like that vibe that he's an outcast. He doesn't know a lot about his powers yet. I love that origin style tale. The problem is, Snyder doesn't interpret the right type of levity that the character needs throughout the film. I get the direction that he was going, and I still respect it to this day. I still love that fucking film. I really do. But when I look at Corn Sweat Superman and his performance, you can tell that the writing of the character of Superman in Superman 2025 is a lot more like the character we all know and love. You can tell that he's quirky, he's kind of a dork at times, but at the core of it, he embodies the symbol of hope. And that's going to dive me into the next one, which is performances and chemistry, which right now, if you guys wanted to know, right now we have 2 points for Superman 2025, and Man of Steel has got 1 point. Okay, so the next one is performances and chemistry. So for me, I love, one of the biggest performances that stood out to me in Man of Steel was Michael Shannon playing General Zod. And I love me some Henry Cavill. I think what he did with the character at that time period is all he could do. That's what he didn't have the ability to, or the best writing to actually embody the character of Superman. But for me, Amy Adams falls flat for Lois Lane personally. And I think the rest of the supporting cast does do a good job. But let's compare it to our 3 big hitters in Superman, which is David Cornsweet, Rachel Brosnahan, and Nicholas Hoult, right? So these 3 actors, in my opinion, embody their characters. I think Brosnahan and Nicholas Hoult do fantastic jobs embodying the character of Lex and Lois. I think they do a phenomenal job with their performances. And the chemistry between Lois and Clark, I think David does a great job embodying the persona of Clark and of Superman, which if you look at Man of Steel, Henry doesn't have that ability to be Clark and Superman. He more or less is that same character throughout the whole film. He's a little bit more mono, so to speak, more low-key, more quiet, more whispery, and very like kind of or like a little depressing, so to speak. So I will say performances and chemistry tie in with character for me, and that next point goes to Superman. Now let's talk about the visual effects in action. This goes right to Man of Steel. I actually really respect the style of visual effects in action they were going for in Superman. It's more or less close up with the action, more of that fishbowl lens, trying to immerse you into the action experiences. But personally, for me, the visual effects, the cinematography, and the action is better in Man of Steel, whether it's the Kryptonian battle in Smallville or the Kryptonian battle at the end of fucking the film or being on Krypton. The visuals, the cinematography, it is beautiful in that film. And whether it's the fight between Zod and Superman or the first flight sequence, you can't help but that's the style of cinematography, the action, the visual effects that I would prefer more or less. I know a lot of people prefer the new Superman style, and don't get me wrong, it works for me too for that style of film, but what I would prefer and what I think is better is Man of Steel's action and its visual effects, its fight sequences, its action sequences. It felt more out of a video game. Goes to Man of Steel. Now, what I will say is let's talk about who's in the lead right now. Okay, so we have 3 points right now for Superman, which is story, it is character, and it is performances and chemistry. Right now, we are running 2 points for Man of Steel, which is score and visual effects and action. Okay, so the last one, it's either going to be a tie or a winner. The message of the film and tone. So let's talk about what I was basically wrapping up everything. The message in film of Man of Steel is a father-son style story where it's more or less like being alone in the world, but trying to show your face and be a hero, so to speak, right? And with that being said, with a dark film, dark tone, dark undertale, stuff like that, it's more or less saying what your parents set up, what you want to be. They wanted to give you the choice, things like that throughout the film, those messages, those beats, things like that, and to inspire greater and like be the world's hero. That's Man of Steel's tone. And I think for me, the better message is fortunately going to Superman 2025. I think the reason why is punk rock is being nice is the new punk rock. That's one of the sayings that are going around. But the film truly embodies, to me, when I watch Man of Steel watch Superman compared to Man of Steel, Superman makes me want to be a better person. It truly has that inspiration. Where Man of Steel is more of an epic style, like, oh, this was awesome to watch. But when I came out of Superman 2025, it makes me want to be a better person. It makes me want to be fun, be nice to people, respect people. That's why I think Superman's tone and message is stronger and radiates through the film even more than Man of Steel. Man of Steel, you walk out and I'm like, oh, that was an awesome fucking movie. But when I actually feel something and makes me want to change as a person, Superman nails that. So the winner of this film gets 4 points out of 6. It is going to be Superman 2025. Of this movie versus movie, Superman 2025 is the winner. James Gunn, Superman, directed by James Gunn. As much as I love Man of Steel, guys, I think Man of Steel is a phenomenal film. I own 3 copies of it back there. I think Superman is the stronger film in a lot of those beats. Although Man of Steel has its strengths too. The action, the score, the visual effects. Even a couple other performances too as well. But when I want to go back to rewatch a film, in a true Superman film, I think Superman 2025, in my opinion, nails it. But guys, you've definitely seen both of them. Let me know your thoughts below. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys real soon.